I always trusted my sister. That sentence feels insane to write now. I'm 31, married 3 years. My wife and I were trying for our first baby, saving for a house, doing all the boring adult things. And my younger sister lived nearby, recently divorced, struggling, always over for dinner. My wife adored her. They texted constantly, went shopping together, shared secrets in the kitchen while I pretended not to listen. The first weird thing happened when my wife stopped asking me questions about my day. Instead, she asked my sister, "How was his meeting? Did he seem stressed?" At first, I thought it was sweet, like they were bonding over me. Then my sister started acting strange around me, avoided eye contact, flinched if I raised my voice, even joking. Once apologized for something she hadn't done. And one night, my wife asked very calmly, "You'd never hurt my sister, right?" I laughed. She didn't. The discovery came from a baby monitor. We'd installed it early, just to test it. One afternoon, I forgot to turn it off when I went to work. At lunch, I opened the app out of curiosity and heard voices. My wife's, my sister's, laughing, talking about me. At first, it sounded normal. Then my sister said, "He's starting to suspect." My heart stopped. My wife answered, "Good. Then it'll look real when I leave." They started talking about timing, about money, about who would get the house. And then the sentence that made my hands go numb. "If he ever gets angry, I'll say he scared me. You'll back me up, right?" My sister laughed. "Of course. He's always been intense." I sat there in my office bathroom, staring at my phone, realizing something impossible. The 2 women I trusted most of my life were planning how to destroy me. I didn't go home early. I went to a hardware store, bought a cheap voice recorder. That night, I pretended nothing was wrong. My wife kissed me. My sister stayed for dinner. They talked about baby names while I smiled and recorded everything in my pocket. The next week, I learned how deep it went. They were telling people I had anger issues, that I yelled, that I broke things. My sister told our mother she was worried about my temper. My wife started flinching when I walked into rooms. One night she locked herself in the bathroom and cried loudly so the neighbors could hear. And then the final twist of that week, my boss called me into his office, asked if everything was okay at home, said someone had anonymously reported concerns about my violent behavior. That's when I understood. This wasn't about divorce. This was about erasing me. The first police visit happened on a Tuesday, middle of the afternoon. I was cooking pasta when the knock came. 2 officers, calm, polite, but their eyes were already watching my hands. They said they received a wellness call. Someone was worried about my wife and sister, said there had been shouting, threats, possible violence. My wife stood behind them, wrapped in a sweater, eyes red, whispering that she was just scared sometimes. My sister arrived 10 minutes later, crying, saying she'd seen me lose control before. I couldn't even speak. I showed them the baby monitor recordings. Not everything, just enough to prove I wasn't violent. The officers left, but one of them said quietly before going, "Sir, you should be careful. This kind of report stays on file." That was the moment I realized they didn't need to put me in jail. They just needed to make me look dangerous. The next twist came from my mother. She called me late at night, asked gently if I was getting help. When I asked what she meant, she went quiet, then admitted my sister had told her I'd once pushed her during an argument years ago. A complete lie. But my mother believed it, because my sister was crying when she said it. The story was spreading. Neighbors stopped smiling at me. My wife started sleeping with the bedroom door locked, left her phone recording on the nightstand for safety. One evening, she said quietly, almost kindly, "If something happens, I hope you know I tried to protect you." That sentence kept me awake all night, because it sounded like a goodbye. The twist that saved me came from the one person they didn't expect. My sister's ex-husband. He messaged me out of nowhere. "Hey, I think something bad is about to happen to you." We met the next morning. He looked exhausted, told me she'd done the same thing to him, accused him of anger issues. told friends he scared her, called the police once when he tried to leave. Charges dropped, but his career never recovered. Then he showed me screenshots, messages from my sister to my wife, planning, timing, exact phrases to use with police, and one line that made my blood freeze. Once he's gone, the house is ours. That's when I finally understood the full picture. This wasn't revenge. This was a business plan. The second call came at night, 2:43 a.m. I woke up to shouting in the living room. My wife was screaming, not at me, at the wall. "Stop, please." Then she slammed something hard against the floor. I ran out half asleep and saw her on the couch, shaking, phone in her hand. She looked at me and whispered, "Don't come closer." Then she dialed 911 in front of me. "He's having another episode," she cried into the phone. "He's breaking things. I'm scared it's going to hurt my sister." My sister appeared from the hallway, crying instantly like an actress hitting her mark. When the police arrived, the apartment looked like a crime scene. A lamp smashed, a picture frame broken. My wife's wrist already red from where she'd squeezed it herself. They separated us, asked me questions. My wife said I'd thrown the lamp. My sister said I'd screamed that I hated them both. And then they said the words I feared. "Sir, please turn around." At the station, everything blurred. Fingerprints, photos, a bench in a cold hallway. I kept thinking, this is it. This is how they win. Then a miracle. The detective assigned to me opened my phone. I asked to show him something. The baby monitor recordings. The voice recorder from my pocket. Hours of audio. My wife laughing about bruises. My sister practicing lines. The plan. The house. The detective went very quiet. Left the room. Came back with another officer. Then another. They listened. Again and again. At sunrise, they uncuffed me. The detective said slowly, "Sir, you didn't imagine this." When I got home, the apartment was empty. Both of them gone. Not just gone. Stripped. My laptop. My documents. My passport. Our savings. On the table, a note in my wife's handwriting. "You made us do this." Then my phone rang. My sister, crying, saying my wife had lost control and run away, saying she was scared of me, saying she didn't know what to believe anymore. And that's when the final twist of the night hit. The detective called. They'd found my wife's car, abandoned, with blood on the door handle. Not hers, mine, from a cut I didn't remember getting. And suddenly this wasn't just about framing me. This was turning into something much worse. By morning, my face was everywhere. Not on the news. Worse, in police systems. The detective told me quietly that until they found my wife, I was technically still a suspect. My blood on her car, a missing woman, 2 witnesses who had already accused me twice. He believed me. I could see in his eyes, but belief wasn't evidence. They told me not to leave the city, not to contact my wife, not to contact my sister. An hour later, my mother called, screaming, asking what I'd done, saying my sister had shown up at her house shaking, telling her I'd finally snapped and attacked my wife, that I'd chased her with a lamp, that I'd threatened to kill them both. My own mother told me to turn myself in before things get worse. I hung up and realized something horrible. They weren't just erasing me. They were replacing me. The police found my wife 2 days later, alive, at a motel 3 towns away, with a man, not injured, not scared, drinking wine. When they questioned her, her story collapsed in 10 minutes. She said I'd attacked her, but admitted she'd driven herself. Said she'd escaped barefoot, but had receipts from a shoe store. Said she was hiding, but had posted selfies under a fake account. And then came the line that ended everything. She asked the detective if she could still get the house. That's when they arrested her, not for lying, for theft, for emptying our accounts, for filing false reports, for staging evidence. And suddenly, the missing victim became the criminal. The interrogation of my sister happened the same day. She tried to play confused, said she was scared of both of us, said she didn't know who to believe until they played the recordings. Her voice, laughing, planning, talking about the house. She went pale, then angry. Then she said something that shocked everyone. She promised I could live there if I helped. Promised. My wife had promised my own sister my house, in exchange for destroying me. That's when the final piece fell into place. This wasn't just my wife's plan. It was theirs. Together. The trial started 3 months later. I sat on one side of the courtroom, my wife on the other, my sister behind her. Neither of them looked at me. The charges were heavy. False police reports, theft, obstruction, staging evidence. But the worst charge came from recordings. Conspiracy, planning to falsely accuse someone of domestic violence. When the prosecutor played the baby monitor audio in court, the room went completely silent. My wife's voice filled the courtroom. If he ever gets angry, I'll say he scared me. You'll back me up, right? My sister's laugh. Then, once he's gone, the house is ours. My mother was in the back row. She started crying before the audio even finished. My sister finally looked at me, and for the first time, she looked ashamed. The verdict came fast. My wife was sentenced to prison. Not long, 2 years, but enough to destroy everything she planned to steal. My sister avoided jail, but she lost custody of her kids, lost her job, lost our family. The judge looked directly at her and said, "Betraying a brother like this is something no court can truly punish." That line still haunts me. After court, my mother tried to hug me. She kept saying, "I'm sorry," over and over. She said she believed my sister because she sounded so scared. I told her quietly. So did my wife. We didn't speak for months after that. Here's my final update. It's been a year. I sold the house, moved far away, changed my number. I'm divorced, single, alive. Sometimes I wake up at night thinking I hear shouting. Sometimes I still flinch when someone raises their voice. But I'm free. And here's what I learned, and what I hope saves someone reading this. The most dangerous people are not strangers. They're the ones who already know how to make you look guilty. If someone starts telling stories about you before anything happens, run. Document everything. Protect yourself. Because heartbreak hurts. But being erased by your own family almost killed me. I survived. And that's the only ending that matters.